Good evening, good evening. So we finally have some Nats dates, as well as some other bits of news as we start nearing Gencon and whatever we might find out there. So yeah, just going to catch up real quick here. Nationals, first and foremost, obviously the biggest news, we finally have dates and rough locations of the Nationals events. They're going to be in October this year. I believe they spanned November last year, or late October through mid-November or something like that, but we're going to get them all in October this time. Maybe gives them a little bit more lead time to get people ready for this HLC trip if they're still doing that in January, which I believe is the case. But yeah, reverse order this time. Last year, NA got the first one. This year, NA is going to get the last one. They're going to be October 7th, 14th, and 21st. The 7th being the European Nationals in Sheffield, the UK, which is the place they've been holding their in-person regionals, including the one coming up. Same thing, the Auckland, New Zealand, where they're having the in-person regional this weekend for Oceania, is going to hold their Nationals as well on October 14th. And October 21st, these are the Saturdays, so it's going to be the day before and after as well, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for all of these. October 21st, North America Nationals is going to be at the Star City Games Convention down in Fort Worth, Texas. This is a free convention. You don't need to worry about paying, $100 to get into the con. Of course, the hotel prices might be a little higher or whatnot, but that's very exciting. We get to get featured and pushed in. If Star City is running this event, that's even better news, right? They run all sorts of huge events for Magic and Flesh and Blood. And we're going to be right there next to those two, on their website and, their marketing and whatnot. They're going to say, hey, we're having major events for Magic and Flesh and Blood and Universus. So that should be pretty good for exposure. Hopefully Jasco has some demo booths set up. Hopefully they're taking the chance where they have a card hall full of people who literally play card games, especially the Flesh and Blood players, because Flesh and Blood is kind of like a mostly simpler, but has its own quirks version of Universus. So probably some cross appeal there. And obviously, with Bill Stark on the team and some other people from Wizards, they might be able to attract some Magic people over to come and give it a look. So hopefully a really big opportunity there marketing-wise, but for the players, we are going to be playing in Nationals. A reminder that this is ostensibly an invite-only event. There are hundreds of people who have invites at this point, but you do need to get one, and there is going to be a last chance qualifier on Friday if you want to go roll the dice on qualifying, right there on site. I assume there will be side events. If you don't, some other people might just be going to, support their friends and hang out and whatnot. Take a shot at the last chance qualifier, do whatever else on the weekend if they don't get it. Those invites, the ones for Season 1, should now all be emailed out. So if you were expecting to have an invite and you did not get an email and it is not in your spam box or anywhere else, make sure you contact Jasco, put in a ticket on the Discord most likely. There might be an announcement on there with an email that you can send to. But you definitely reach out to Jasco if you're supposed to have an invite or you think you're supposed to have an invite and you haven't gotten one yet. For Season 2, they say they are going to send out the invites much more quickly, like send out invites every few weeks or after each regional or something like that. We'll see how that goes, because obviously if they wait till the very end of Season 2 to send out invites, there's not going to be enough notice for a lot of people who aren't sure, because invites will pass down, right? So if you go to a provisional and you finish 4th, but the 3 people ahead of you have invites, then you're going to get an invite. If you go to one of these regionals where the top 16 get an invite, but 30 of the top 40 players all have invites, and the invites are going down to 47th, 48th place, something like that, then you're really not going to know until you get the invite in the mail, right? So you keep an eye on your emails, but if you play in a regional especially and you don't have your invite yet and you finish anywhere from 20th to 50th, keep an eye on that email over the weeks afterwards and see if you get an invite from all this trickle down. One other note about this Nationals timing, unless we get something very, very soon or pretty surprising, it would seem like this is going to be the Undaunted Raid format for the Nationals, because if they wanted that 6 jet burn to be legal for this, it would presumably want to have to release September 23rd? Something like that, right? Pre-release September 16th it would have to be, or something in that order, if they wanted to have that out in advance, especially with the first one being in Europe and how much longer things take to get overseas. And if the set were releasing at that date, we'd probably have gotten a date by now. We'd at least see solicitations, some of those, the sheets that Asmodee sends out to people that get all over the internet that I cover on here, usually, months and months in advance of the set coming out, and before Jesco even announces it. We haven't seen any of that for Jetburn, we just know the name of the set. So, it's probably a safe assumption, just looking at the state of things, unless they really just are keeping everything under wraps for big Gen Con announcements or something, that this is going to be the meta. Give or take any bans between now and then, this is going to be the format that we are going to have for Nationals, so it is definitely worth taking it seriously in your testing and all of that. Other pieces of news, they announced on short notice yet again that the monthly Monday Mayhem tournament is going to be this coming Monday. They announced this, I think, yesterday or the day before or something like that. So, 6 days of notice, you have fun. As expected, you have to play an Undaunted Raid character. That was obvious that was what they were going to do for this. So, whatever your favorite new Undaunted Raid deck is, if you're free this coming Monday night, you want to play 3 rounds, try to win $125. If you go 3-0, you get money, cash money, and the entry is good too. Head on over, links in the description of where to sign up for that, and give it a shot, play a little webcam. They've also shown off in a very weird step, they have shown off the Gen Con alternate arts, but just the arts. They have not said what the text on any of these cards is, or what cards they are, or anything like that, or shown as what they look like text on them, which is... It's very strange. Either they haven't decided yet, or they hadn't decided yet as I'm the posting, or, my pet theory is that maybe some of these will actually be Jetburn cards, like an early preview that you get just right there at Gen Con. That seems like it's probably the most likely, but we'll see. In any event, it is 6 different cards. Just one picture right up there. We'll have a link to the Twitter post or whatever in the description. So you can see all 6 of them, but it's some sort of promotional art from a convenience store collab they probably did over in Japan. That's what it looks like. All these characters have like snacks and refreshments and things like that. So yeah, we're just gonna get these random sticks with cheese on them promotional arts for the Gen Con promos. We'll see. I'm sure some people would say they're better than chibis, right? We'll see if... It depends on what cards they are always, right? If it's a funny card or a card that people play a lot, they're going to want them. That's kind of how alt arts always go. How actually to get them at Gen Con, we do not know. They have not said. The promo says at the booth over the 4-day span, and that's kind of all it says. So we don't know if they're handing them out, if you have to just like do the thing, want something you did last year or the year before, we should just kind of show them that you have a UGN account and you could get a promo, or you did a demo and you get a promo or something like that. It's really unclear what they're... If they're just handing them out, they presumably would have told us they're just handing them out. So the fact that they haven't told us how to get them means, again, either they don't know or it's some really complicated thing that they're gonna try to announce and explain to people. What would have to be next Wednesday or over the weekend while they're covering this OCA regional. But yeah. Very strange, this Gen Con alt art situation, but I guess we'll see over the coming weeks. Yeah, that's pretty much all the news. Just a reminder, upcoming events. This coming weekend, the day after tomorrow as of recording, is going to be the Oceania RLE in Auckland, New Zealand. It's kind of start on Friday night for us Americans, so keep an eye out on it. It's like 24 hours away, maybe? That's the time I'm recording this, something like that. So, I believe Jesco plans to have coverage for that this time, so keep an eye out for that. Of course, 2 weeks later is Gen Con, and then 2 weeks after that is Sheffield, and then we get the 3-week break before, big fun times here in Rochester at the new Millennium Games store. It is very large, it is very cool. And then Las Vegas to round out the schedule. Just a reminder, they do have a scheduled ban announcement for August 1st. If they do hit anything, we don't really expect that they will unless somebody really does something disgusting over in New Zealand. But if they do decide to touch anything, that will not be valid for the Gen Con event itself, because their bans don't go into effect till the next Monday, which is very unfortunate for these events that are on like the first or second weekend of the month, but it is what it is. So hopefully they don't feel the need to ban anything, this month or next month, and these Gen Con and Rochester regionals can just go off without feeling weird with to be banned cards that are still legal. Same with the Europe Nationals is going to be exposed to this too. Very unfortunate timing. They might. There's some people saying like, hey, you maybe should do something about this. We'll see if they change their policy at some point here, but I'm sure they'll announce it well in advance if they do. We're not going to have any surprise bans right before Gen Con if you're planning your trip. And, the second reminder that September 9th regional and the Las Vegas regional will be the first events for which the provisional promos are legal if you have a cool Bubble Girl deck, or you want to play Maximum Overhaul or any of those other, really cool attacks that we've been getting for those provisionals. That will be your first chance to do so. And that's going to be it for our video today. Probably going to do a news update, I guess, on August 1st. We'll see what, if anything, gets banned or not before a bunch of us head off to Indianapolis. Between now and then, I have at least one video that I want to do that I think is a pretty cool idea that might become a series. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, until then, have a good night.